Hi guys, and today I want to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers as news has came out that they'll be making moves. This is a team that next year will definitely be interesting because if you guys aren't a Clippers fan, just know that Robert Covington's contract will be expiring this upcoming free agency, so he will be a free agent. But for most of the roster, it's staying intact. They have very similar the same team with behind Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Norman Powell. Marcus Morris is making $16.3 million. Luke Kennard's making 13.7. Reggie Jackson's making 11.2. Zubac is making 7.5, and then it drops down to Nick Batum making 3.3. So let's get right into today's video. I want to hear your thoughts. So the Los Angeles Clippers went through, we can agree, a sabbatical gap year with Kawhi Leonard being out for the entirety of the year and Paul George missing a significant amount of time. And during those times when both star players were out, we saw, a lot of young guys who have added depth to this team, and Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Isaiah Hartenstein to fortify their rotation. And they had no reason to tank this year because they didn't have a first-round pick, so they competed for the playoffs. Now that the Clippers will shift their focus towards the offseason as they try to improve and get better for title pursuit in the following season, their main priority will be trying to retain their top free agents. And if they do that, they want to add other rotational role players with their mid-level exception. They should be able to become one of the favorites for the NBA Finals next year. But if they're committed to paying this core, they'll be paying an extremely high luxury tax. So the Clippers are heading into the offseason with 10 players on the roster. They could have 11 if Nick Batum accepts his $3.2 million contract. So basically with Robert Covington, Rodney Hood, and Isaiah Hartenstein, Amir Coffey coming off the book, okay, that means basically it's going to be a year where we'll be able to see who's going to be the most important players for them to come back. But yeah, with that being said, Isaiah Hartenstein, I could see him getting paid by somebody because he balled out so well. While I also could see, a guy similar like an Amir Coffey, I could see him being retained, okay? And then we have, Rodney Hood, he's not going to stay. And I think this was definitely an interesting year for them because of the players that they have. So I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. And also, Amir Coffey has a player option, so he could technically stay. Correct me if I'm wrong. A qualifying offer. My apology. Amir Coffey has a qualifying offer, so they probably keep him through the qualifying offer. But it's Robert Covington because Batum has the early bird rights to be re-signed for a 4-year up to $50 million deal. And, his 2021 to 2022 was on par with last season's performance. So expect the Clippers to take care of the versatile wingmen. While Robert Covington became a dead-eye defensive player for them, Robert Covington and Batum kind of make Marcus Morris expendable because Robert Covington flourished in his role off the bench, shooting 45% from three and 68% true shooting since joining the Clippers. He would be their ideal small ball 5 next season. And the Clippers want to play with a lot of high leverage situations. And the Clippers hold the full bird rights on Robert Covington. So, 2 years, $27.9 million after a strong resurgent year. I think that would be possible. But Isaiah Hartenstein, like I said, he was a good player, very good. He's one of the best backup centers in the league with incredible net ratings on off numbers. And he was the biggest value with a veteran minimum. And the Clippers hold his non-bird rights, which limit to him, resign him to a vet min, which is $1.9 million, which is a 20% raise of his current salary. And, look, so it's 1.9 or you can make 2.3. And they could pay him more if they use the mid-level exception at 6.4. I could just see a really good team just with more money paying Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, Marcus Morris was brought to be a key piece in the small ball lineups, but Robert Covington kind of stole his minutes and Morris declined. So with the Robert Covington and Nick Batum, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Morris is expendable. Same thing with Zubac, who's entering the final year of his deal. And the Clippers, are going to probably exercise that $7.5 million team option. And he had a great year, but also you could argue that he is extendable. Now, the Clippers are set to be luxury taxpayers for the second season in a row. They'll be, paying with $85 million tax payments. So heading into an offseason with they've paid $85 million in 2021 to 2022, and they'll likely breeze through that amount in 2022 to 2023 if they bring back their top free agents. So we're looking at a $97 million, luxury payment, which is absurd. So I expect, trying to trade Marcus Morris for an actual backup point guard or something along those lines. I want your thoughts down below. And then, yeah, I don't think anything in the draft really.